Nihon no tomodachi, mina konnichiwa.
Mina konnichiwa. Shreddawg desu. What is going on, everyone? Shreddawg back here today, and today is going to be just a quick kind of talking video. As you all know, I recently got back from Japan. I've been before in the past, absolutely love it. It's my favorite place to visit. But I was recently there just in the end of October and beginning of November, and I thought it would be cool just to ask all of you if you had any questions about my trip or Japan in general. So today we're going to be answering some of those questions. I put out this post on YouTube and another one on Twitter just asking people if they had any questions about my trip or anything Japan in general. So today we're going to go over some of those questions. A lot of you asked several questions, which is awesome. So hopefully we got some good questions here. And at the end of this video, if you have more questions, feel free to send more and I will make another one. Also in the future, I will have another video that just kind of shows some of the pictures and videos I took when I was there. But that will be for another time when I get caught up on everything. Okay, so we're going to start off with a few questions from my good friend P&D. P&D first asked about personal space issues. I personally didn't run into that at all, at least with native Japanese people. Japanese people tend to be very respectful of your space. Sometimes I think, too, they also don't want to be near foreigners. I know on the trains a lot of times, if I happen to be sitting on a train and it's not super crowded, Japanese people will tend to sit further away. And to be fair, they do that with other Japanese people as well. You'll notice a lot of times people don't want to sit next to other people if they can help it. But I think especially for foreigners, they try to avoid that if possible. Usually when I ride the trains, I actually don't even sit down. I just leave the spaces open for native Japanese people to use, and I just stand up. So did I come across that problem? No. Now, with other foreigners, I would say yes, I did come across that issues. I'm not going to say what foreigners or what have problems, but if you've been to Japan, I'm sure you know. If you know, you know, right? Definitely not really with any native Japanese people. I think they're the most respectful people. They're incredible people. The next question is, were you able to get a picture at the Shibuya Scramble Crossing? I didn't even try to get a picture. I went through there. I was actually in Shibuya for Halloween. It was super cool. It was insanely crowded over there. And at night when I was there, because I was in Shibuya for, I think, 2 or 3 days, because of the whole ban Halloween thing, they were being real strict with people like trying to just really take up any space at all in the crossing. They were moving people through. They did not block off the intersection like they usually do. So I didn't even try to take a picture. I got some video of the area at some point, but I just try to follow the rules the best I can when I'm in Japan. I don't try to draw attention to myself or anything like that. I don't try to use the Gaijin car to get away with things. There was people there stopping in the middle of the intersection, taking a photo, and police were like, move, keep walking and stuff. I personally don't do that. So did I get a picture? No, I did not. Another question that I got from P&D is, did anyone react to your facial hair? I would say not that I noticed. It's possible people did. I mean, being a foreign people are going to tend to look at you. They're going to at least take quick looks. I didn't really ever feel like anybody was looking at me for my facial hair or anything. I've seen people just kind of glance at me a little bit. I'm sure, depending where you are, they don't get a lot of foreigners, or it's kind of weird to see a foreigner. I tend to have a beard, but from what I know about Japan, Japanese culture, thing like that, facial hair is somewhat acceptable as long as it is groomed and it's not just kind of crazy everywhere or like a full-on beard. So with that being said, I tend to try and keep my beard pretty trimmed and neat, so I didn't notice anybody at all. I've actually seen several Japanese people with beards, so back in the day, a lot of Japanese people had beards. That it was a sign of like power, things like that. So I didn't notice any issues. Do animals sound different over there? And I will say some do, yes. For example, crows sound totally different there than they do here. Here, they have more of a kind of high-pitched squawking sound. And in Japan, the crows are definitely a lot more different. They sound more like a wah, wah sound. I'll try to find a sound if I can. I'm sure I recorded it and put it in here. If you meant, do we represent sounds differently? You can say that, like here we'll say for a cat, meow, meow. They don't really say that there. They say nyan. That's why, nyan, nyan. I'm sure you've seen that. So things like that, yeah, there are differences in how you describe sounds for sure. But also some animals do sound different over there than they do here. Okay, next on the list, we can see, I believe it's Remare Judge. They ask several questions, so we're going to go ahead and answer them now. Number one, did you use Google Translate a lot or is English common? Depending where you are, English can be pretty common, but it also depends on the situation. For example, if you are going to a convenience store, generally speaking, you can get away with English. If they ask you if you'd like a bag in Japanese, if you don't know what they're saying, usually they'll just hold up a bag, say a bag maybe. So it's very simple. I didn't have any problems. A lot of hotels as well in touristy areas do have staff that speak English, so it is not too difficult. If you go outside of more touristy areas, it can be a little bit more difficult to communicate in English. In some cases, I did use Google Translate because my Japanese is not the best. I kind of know a lot of vocabulary. I can't really put together sentences very well, and I also cannot like have a conversation very well either. So in some instances where there could be a line that I could be holding up, things like that, I would just preemptively type out what I want to say in Japanese and translate and show it to the person. That way I can just speed up my transaction or whatever I'm doing. One thing you want to do in Japan is you want to be aware of the people around you. You don't want to negatively impact anybody, whether it be holding up, taking up their time, things like that. So I always try to do what I can to just move quickly and not disturb other people. So in some cases, I did use Google Translate. For the most part, though, I would say I didn't have a problem and I don't know that much Japanese. It's a great option, though. They actually welcome you to use Google Translate because it makes things easy for them. What I found is a lot of Japanese people seem to know English, but they're maybe intimidated to use it because they don't practice it a lot. But if you ever ask a person to like help or ask for help, I've never had a Japanese person not help me. So, I tend to stay towards more touristy areas though, but yeah, I've never had any issues myself. Another question from Remare Judge is it better to explore on your own or go on some of these guided tours? I personally have never used a guided tour at all on any of my trips to Japan. I just kind of look things up by myself. I will read travel guides, watch YouTube videos, things like that. And I know there's areas that I want to explore, and that's what I do is I just explore. Usually the only thing that I look up information for is transportation, how to get around. For example, Kyoto is a very interesting place because they don't have train stops everywhere, although they do have a lot of stops on the subway system that can get you where you need to go. But a lot of people use buses and taxi or even bikes to get around. I don't really have a problem using the subway station at all. So I just use Google Maps to get where I want to go and I just look up places. I would say that maybe sometimes it could be kind of nice to take a guided tour depending on where you're at. Like Kyoto, for example, maybe could be an option, but I've never used a tour myself. I can't say if they're good or not. This next question is a fantastic question. It's a very hard question to answer. What's better, Lawson, Family Mart, or 7-Eleven? So I always go to 7-Eleven specifically for an ATM machine. Every single 7-Eleven has one. It's great. Now, when it comes to the food, I am absolutely loyal to Family Mart Fammy Chicky. Fammy Chicky is the best thing ever created ever. Now, I tend to actually usually get the spicy chicken instead of the regular Fammy Chicky, but it's great. The packaging's great. It tastes great. It's greasy. It's chicken. It's amazing. I will say that Lawson is also very good. They have a lot of good options as well. I think when it comes to the hot food, in my opinion, 7-Eleven is the worst out of Family Mart, Lawson, and 7-Eleven. That being said, the food is very good at 7-Eleven. I'm not going to lie. Like, it's very good. It's very inexpensive. I am just loyal personally to Fammy Chicken at Family Mart. Again, I usually get the spicy one. It's very, very good. If there's not a Family Mart nearby, I will go to Lawson. before I go to 7-Eleven, unless I need to get cash, in which case I just go to 7-Eleven. Next question. Did you go to McDonald's to get something you can't get in America? At McDonald's, I only eat at McDonald's the chicken nuggets, fries, desserts, and stuff like that. I don't even drink the coffee because it's not good in my opinion. Unless I'm getting just a regular hot cup of coffee, then it's okay. So when I went to McDonald's, because of course I went to McDonald's, I just get they have an after, I think it's like after 5 or 6 p.m. or something, the meal. It's like 15 chicken nuggets, 2 large fries, and it's really cheap. That's what I get. I will say, actually, I'm lying. They do have Shaka Shaka chicken, which I go to every time I go to McDonald's. The first time I went to McDonald's on this trip, though, I was kind of annoyed because they didn't give me my little shaking powder. I don't know if I got the spicy one. They didn't give me my powder for the Shaka Shaka chicken, so that was annoying. I could have went up and asked for it, but it just wasn't worth my time. I just ate the chicken as it is. But so that is one thing I do go to. Now, another thing is they have Wendy's over there, and it's kind of funny. So Wendy's over there is usually called like Wendy's First Kitchen or First Kitchen Wendy's, something like that. And basically Wendy's partnered up with this other restaurant chain. Japan tends to use a lot of shorthands for things. They make words smaller when they're talking about places. Like, for example, there is my favorite donut place to go, Mr. Donut. They call it Mizdo. So they do this with a lot of places. So Wendy's and First Kitchen have like a partnership, and that's where Wendy's comes through, right? It's kind of interesting because First Kitchen, of course, Japanese people aren't going to call it First Kitchen. That's too long. They call it fucking. I'm not kidding. Fa is like first, and then kit is like kitchen is like king. I don't know. So they literally, I'm not kidding you, will call it fucking. That's First Kitchen, or they reference that as Wendy's as well. So I did actually, this is the first time I went to Wendy's when I was in Japan. I've never gone to a Wendy's before, or a First Kitchen, or fucking, whatever you want to call it. And they sell beer there, so that was pretty cool. I actually got a Wendy's like branded beer, or fucking branded beer. It was pretty cool. And here you go. I kind of pulled this up a little bit right here. And there you can see Wendy's First Kitchen. So yeah, that's First Kitchen there. And right here you can see this is the Wendy's First Kitchen beer that I got. So yeah, there you go. That's Wendy's, or First Kitchen, or fucking. And as for the food I got when I went here, I got the beer. I believe they were chicken legs, or maybe they were thighs. I don't remember. Chicken nuggets and fries, because generally when I go to a fast food place, I don't usually get a burger unless it's a place I like the burgers from. So I just kind of got this. Other like foreign places that I've got when I was there, I went to Krispy Kreme one day. It was in a train station. I was hungry. I was walking a lot that day. I got that. I didn't go this time, but I've been to KFC before in the past. I almost actually made it to Taco Bell, but when I finally made it to one, they were closing. They closed at 9 p.m., so I was kind of disappointed. I really wanted to try Taco Bell there, just for the lulz. I mean, I actually like Taco Bell. It's garbage food, but it's delicious. And that's somebody who comes from, I'm in LA, where you actually have great Mexican food, probably the best in the country. So yeah, it's just, everybody knows Taco Bell is not Mexican food. It's just something different. It's cool, but it would have been fun to try it in Japan. They actually have unique menu items I wanted to try. If you want me to go into any more specifics on that, then just let me know, and you can do another video. It's not a problem. The next question is also from Remer Judge. How many cases of Boss Coffee did you send home? I did not send any home. I can get Boss Coffee here. It's a lot more expensive, I'll tell you that, especially with the exchange rate. So in Japan, at a vending machine, Boss Coffees still run 110 to maybe 130 or 140 yen. And when I went to Japan, I think the exchange rate was about 148 to 150 yen per $1. So I was getting cans of Boss Coffee for less than $1. It was incredible. If you would have factored in shipping costs, stuff like that, I would have had to buy a lot to make up for that, however much it would have cost, because those things are very heavy. But great question. Currently, I think I'm paying somewhere around $3 to almost $4 a can right now, which is crazy. So every one of these videos you see, it ends up costing me a lot of money. Not really a lot of money. We'll say like $4. So lately I've been trying to be a little bit more sparing with my Boss Coffee and videos. I will try to get about 2 or 3 videos for 1 can. So maybe it costs me a couple dollars a video. And the last question from Remare Judge is actually a really, really good question. It says, would you recommend staying in and around Tokyo or try to venture out of as much as possible of Japan as you can in one trip? So for me, my first time that I ever went to Japan, I never left Tokyo. To be fair, I almost did not leave. I stayed in Akihabara or Akiba. I almost did not leave that area. I did make it to where did I go to? Shinjuku, Harajuku, some of those more popular places in the area, but I did not leave Tokyo at all my first time there. There's just so much to do in Japan. It is crazy. This last trip, I did want to venture out a bit more, but I was worried about how much luggage I had and how much crap I would be buying in Tokyo. So what I did was I spent too much money to essentially keep my hotel in Akihabara. When I got to Tokyo, I immediately, when I left the airport, got my train, took a train to Akihabara, got my hotel booked, and I kept that hotel for the entire, 20 nights or 21 nights we were there. I kept that hotel there the whole time as like a base of operations because I did have a JR pass. Unfortunately, the JR passes are going up quite a bit in price. They have actually already gone up. So I don't know how good of a deal that will be, but typically for the last few years, JR passes were very, very inexpensive. And with that, what you could do is you can get unlimited rides back and forth on any JR trains, including the Yamanote line, which does a whole loop around Tokyo, which is my favorite train line. It's just cool because you can't get lost. The train goes clockwise and counterclockwise, and it just goes in a loop around Tokyo. So if you mix your exit, you can always just get off, go back the other way, or just keep going around the loop. I don't know. It's just a cool line. I like it. Yamanote line takes you everywhere you need to go. But you also have access to all the other bullet trains on the JR line, except for I don't know if the Nozomi and there's another one are part of the JR line or not, but on the JR line, you can take all the other train lines. So you can go back and forth to all the popular places like Kyoto and Osaka. So when you have a JR pass, it's totally worth it to explore more. I don't know how it's going to be going forward now since they increased the price on those by 60, 70%. It's crazy because taking a train ride back and forth from Tokyo to, let's say, Kyoto is actually very expensive. I think it's somewhere around $100 something for one way. So just to go there and back, it's like $200, something like that. I don't know how prices have changed since then because, again, I didn't have to pay at all. I used the JR pass this time. But I would say it's very difficult to, at least for me, I don't like to stick to a plan. I kind of plan out my trips to have, maybe I'll say I want to spend 3 days in Kyoto and I just want to figure out things. I don't like to have an itinerary per se. I like to just freely be able to walk around, do things, whatever I want to do. So I would say, yeah, my first trip, it was very, very difficult for me to leave Tokyo. It really comes down to what your goals are of the trip. I would say if you have a JR pass or if you have enough money to just travel around, experience as much of Japan as you can. For example, this trip I went to Tokyo, obviously a bunch of different places in the Tokyo area, major cities, and I went to Kyoto and I stopped off at Nara and then went to Osaka. Kyoto was insanely busy. I think I want to do a video on it at some point about the over tourism in Japan. It was just crazy. It was not what I was expecting because I had never actually been to Kyoto before. So it was not at all what I was expecting. It was too busy, too crazy. I ended up stopping off at Nara for just the afternoon, and I wish I stayed more time in Nara. I would have actually stayed longer, but the next day from there was my birthday, and I already had tickets I purchased to go to Universal Studios in Osaka because I was going to do the the Halloween Horror Nights or whatever they call it there, like the scary Halloween time thing at the theme park. So couldn't stay longer in Nara, but I had such an amazing time in Nara. It was just such a beautiful place. And for those of you that don't know, it's the area where the deer roam the city and you can feed them. They bow to you and you can feed them. It's really, really cool. Absolute beautiful, peaceful place. After experiencing how crazy Kyoto was, it just felt like a Zen area. It was so good. And next time I go back to Japan, even though I don't know how much there is to do in Nara per se, because we were just kind of going just to see the deer, do that whole thing. I want to take at least 2, maybe 3 days there just to relax and enjoy the atmosphere. It was just so beautiful. Here you can see this is my favorite picture that I got in Nara. I look terrible. We're just going to cover that up. But I actually took like a selfie with a deer. But I have so many pictures with a deer. It's actually really, really cool. It was just a super like peaceful place here. It was just so nice to the whole, yeah, it was just beautiful area right by the water. There's essentially like this huge lake that kind of runs right between the whole area over there. It's just really, really cool. I can't wait to go back. Honestly, it was great. Ah, kind of cool. You can see the moon. Look at the moon's already out. They have like a welcome center in Nara, and it's really cool because they have different little activities you can do. There's free books, everything like that, where you can learn what to do in the area. You learn about the culture, and they have this where they can teach you how to do origami. So I made this pretty cool deer. I will say it came out pretty good. I cannot make this again. I needed a lot of help to do this. It was very difficult, but it was really cool. I've never made like any origami thing before, so I was able to make this and I was very proud. The lady, I thank her a lot because she helped me quite a bit with this. I went to Osaka as well. Osaka was just a very kind of hustling and bustling city. It was similar to Tokyo. Um, Very, very cool vibe though. I really liked it. I saw a lot of just really cool things. A lot of parties going on there. So if you want to party, definitely go to Osaka. That's recommended. I didn't personally party. I was just extremely tired at that point. We were walking so much. We did so many things. Also, being at Universal Studios the day before, that was wild. We were walking a lot. It was cool, having a lot of fun. And then a crazy thunderstorm came in partway through. So yeah, it was wild. I definitely need to go back to Osaka and have more things planned out because really all I wanted to do in Osaka was just kind of just see the city. It was really cool. The whole Donbontori area was really nice with the Glico Man, everything like that. You can see the famous Glico Man there. That was really cool. And it's right on like there's water off to the side, so it's actually a really kind of cool area. And yeah, I was drinking quite a lot of strong zeros at the time. So very, very fun place to just walk around, hang out, everyone just vibing, having a good time. Oh yeah, there you go. There's a strong zero. I drank a lot of those. A lot of those. So the other thing to consider is how much time you plan on spending in Japan. The last time I was there, I think it was there for was it 11 days and 12 nights or 12 days, 11, something like that. And that's one of the reasons I only stayed in Tokyo. It just wasn't enough time. This last trip I was here for 21 or 20 days or 21 days and nights. I don't know how that works, but I was there for 3 weeks. And yeah, it was great. I was able to travel. I had no problems. So really, again, it just comes down to how much time you have and what your goals are. If you want to experience the culture, I would say definitely leave Tokyo. If you want to experience the more hustle and bustle kind of touristy areas, stay in Tokyo. There's so much to do in Tokyo. Osaka is really cool as well. I definitely recommend that. But in Tokyo, you have access to so many places and it's so easy to get around because my favorite train line, the Yamanote line, it will take you everywhere you want to go in Tokyo. It's very easy to navigate. The people are, for the most part, a lot more used to speaking English because there are so many tourists there. So I would say for a first trip, if you plan to do multiple trips and you're on a short trip for your first time, Tokyo is perfect to go to. But if you do want to experience more traditional Japan, I would say definitely go away from Tokyo. In my opinion, Nara is a fantastic place to visit. There's a lot of culture there. You can go to the visitor center. It's free. They even have a hotel there if you want to stay there. They speak English. They can give you so much information about what to do in the area. It's really, really nice. I definitely recommend it. The other thing you need to consider is what time of year you're going. Yeah, it can be very hot in the summertime. I've never been there in the summertime. I do want to go just to experience some of the festivals they have, but I usually go in the fall. It's usually good weather. If you're there in the spring, everywhere is going to be busy. So you kind of need to factor that in as well. If you have any other specifics on that, I'll be happy to answer them the best I can. This is kind of just a very broad answer and maybe not helpful. Sorry. And Beta Ray Bill asks, oh, the usual, where you went, what you did, what you eat, and what places did you stay at? So I kind of already answered some of these, but I stayed in Tokyo, specifically Akihabara. That was my, I'll call it, base of operations. From there, I was there for a few days, and then I went to Kyoto. And in Kyoto, I stayed in one hotel. It was a great hotel, actually. Can't think of what it was called. I'll try and link somewhere in here where I've stayed at, but very nice hotel. And there, I just kind of walked around. I went to the famous Thousand Torii Gate area. As you can see here, there were Torii gates. There was Torii gates. There was a lot of Torii gates everywhere. There was a lot of Torii gate. How do you say that? Gates? Torii gates? Torii gate is like a herd, you know? I don't know. But there was, I mean, I don't know if there's actually 1,000 Torii gates there, but there are so many. There are so many small ones. It is crazy. They have Torii gates on Torii gates like this. So very, very cool place. Fun place to visit. The only issues I had is there were me being a foreign tourist, there was so many foreign tourists there. It kind of killed it a little bit. That place was crazy. I will say at one point making the trek, because I went all the way to the top of the mountain there. At one point, a thunderstorm started, so all the tourists left. So it was fantastic at that time. I just had to risk getting struck by lightning to experience a nice, peaceful, beautiful area. I will say it was super cool walking up and just taking in the nature. It's such a beautiful area. I highly recommend it. Just be warned, it's very tourist heavy. It kind of gets a little bit overwhelming at some points. But I will say the further you walk up the mountain, people tend to get tired and stop going. So the further you go up, the less people there are and the better it is. That's my recommendation. In Osaka, I went to Universal Studios Japan. That was super cool. Here is me drinking some frozen butterbeer. It was super, super good. I love the butterbeer. It's really, really good. That was a cool place, though. Definitely a cool experience. I would say that Universal Studios in Japan is better than it is here in Hollywood. The one in Hollywood sucks compared to this. That's my opinion. As far as what did I eat? Let's see. Of course, I ate ramen. My favorite ramen place is in Akihabara, and it's really cool because it's pretty cheap. I think it's around 900 yen or so, and you can get 2 free noodle refills. And it's really cool because you have to like essentially yell at them and tell them that you want more noodles, which is kaidama. Did I say that right? I think it is kaidama, I believe is how you say more noodles. And you used to get 3 refills on noodles, but now you only get 2. But they didn't really raise their price from what I remember. So very, very cool place. And they're open very late as well. I had more ramen because I love ramen. I had a lot of curry because I love curry. I could eat ramen and curry every day. I had so much convenience store chicken, Fami chicken, that it was just so good. Almost every night, I would go to Konbini, get me several strong zeros because they're super, super good. 12% alcohol, very good tasting can of like, I guess it's beer. I don't even know what it is. But yeah, it tastes very good. It's very cheap. It's like, 120 yen, 130 yen. So it's less than $1, 12% alcohol. Get some of that Fami chicky. Fantastic. Another convenient thing I ate because there was so many everywhere was McDonald's because it's very cheap. Very cool. I also had some very, very expensive meals. I went to the Vampire Cafe in, I believe it's Ginza. That was a really, really cool experience. For the Vampire Cafe, it was my birthday, so I had a really cool the cake is kind of like supposed to be like a tombstone kind of deal. So it was really cool. It was like vampire themed. All the meals was like vampire themed. Like it was really cool. The whole like restaurant is actually vampire themed. It's literally called Vampire Cafe. So it's very cool place. This was on, if I'm not mistaken, October 30th. So it was just before Halloween, which made it really cool. Just a little extra, like kind of cool. So very cool place. Recommend to go. The food was fantastic. This wasn't that expensive for what all we got. So I will say that was pretty good. And I just had standard things like at the hotel we were staying at, they had fresh made pizza and they made their own dough there. So I was like, hey, let's try it. It was right in the hotel. It's pretty good actually. Margarita pizza was actually, it was very good. Very, very good. Another meal I had there was this hot pot place, and it's kind of like you have this little bear in the middle is like your soup base, and he just slowly melts. And you take all of your meat and everything you got and veggies, and you just boil it in there, and that's hot pot. So that was very good. This one was a little bit more expensive for what you get, but part of it is the experience, and it's very popular right now in Japan. So yeah, I think we had to make reservations for this one. This is a giant curry that I had when I was there. It's a tonkatsu curry, and yeah, you have the fried pork up there on top. It was just a massive bowl, super good. This was also cheap. I think it was like, I don't know, 1,000 or 1,100 yen, something like that. So for us, it's like maybe $7, $8, and by the time you finish this thing, you are so full. It's so good. Had this a couple times. This right here is from my favorite ramen place. I guess it's called Furyu Ramen. I don't know, but bro, it's so good. Very inexpensive, really cool place because you just say kaidema, and they bring you your noodles, and you just tell them how hard you want them. If you want them like the firmness of the noodles, do you want them soft, firm, medium? I always get medium. So very cool place, and yeah, they put green onions, mushrooms, the egg, a bunch of pork. So very good place. The broth there is incredible too. My favorite place for sure. And another place I go to every single time is Pepper Lunch. They actually have Pepper Lunch here in the US now, so it's really cool. But I always go there. I first found Pepper Lunch in Japan, and so it was really cool to see them open up a Pepper Lunch nearby here. So I'll just play this video real quick. So it's just like they put beef in a sizzling skillet, and there is rice, corn, and there's like a pepper butter kind of like base that goes on it, and you just kind of cook it up on your skillet right in front of you, and it's really good, very delicious. I love that place. Also very cheap. I ended up finding out that apparently a lot of university students go there to eat because you can get steak for very cheap. So I don't know if it's still popular, but it used to be very popular among the university students in the area just because you can get steak for very cheap. So they have all kinds of different meats. I usually just get the very thin shaved so it cooks quick and I can start eating quick. Very good place. Recommend it. And finally, my favorite place that I go so many times is Mizdō. It's Mr. Donut, but again, the locals call it Mizdō. Because as I already explained, they use shorthand for everything. So I get my iced kohi. These were special promotion donuts they had. Obviously, Pokemon. It was really cool. You have the Pikachu, you have the Psyduck, and you have the Pokeball. Very good. I remember the last time I was in Japan, because the Mizdō was right by my hotel, I think I went to Mizdō probably every day for breakfast, or at least almost every day. This time I didn't go as much because I was traveling so much, but I still went to Mizdō probably about 5 or 6 times in the 3 weeks I was there. So I actually wish I went more, but still my favorite place. Very good. Recommend it. Good prices, good service, and the donuts, like the promotional donuts, look exactly how they look in the promotion, like the ad. So pretty cool stuff. So I guess that will kind of wrap up the whole food thing. What did I eat and what places I stayed at? Again, I think I already answered those as well. If you have any other specifics on that as well, let me know. I can do a video on that. No problem at all. This was funny. So my mom ended up asking me how many CDs did I buy at the iconic Tower Records? And the answer to that is actually not that many. One second. So I only bought a few actually CDs when I was there because I was having to worry about how many things I was carrying. So I bought only this many. I got the latest Humpback Tour CD. This was, I think, like a single, or there's two songs on there maybe. I got the Strike CD, of course, because that was one of my favorite, has one of my favorite songs of the year on there. I got Acmo, which is really cool because I think they actually disbanded. So I was like, this is like my only chance to get this CD. Afloat Storage, another fantastic band that I had to get. I got Toy Snail, Danger. It's a single. It's super good. Love that band. They're really cool. And finally, Coward Drip, which is another very great band. I really, really enjoyed their music, so I had to get those. So that is all I bought at Tower Records. I did buy a lot more CDs though. So all of these CDs came from live shows that I saw. So all of the bubble wrapped ones were the Cantoy CDs. So I picked up 6 Cantoy CDs, and it was really cool because they all include little like photos in there. Maybe you can see. Yeah, kind of cool stuff. And then I picked up an Aoya Sphere CD when I was there. Yeah, just some other CDs. About Test, that was a pretty cool band. I believe that is an instrumental band that was really cool. This lady Kuan was singing, that was fun to see. She did a pretty good job, so I bought her CD as well. And yeah, just a lot of CDs. I pretty much went to every show I went to, I bought CDs. So that was cool, just from various artists that were playing at the time. I will have a whole video, or maybe multiple videos on who I all saw. But just to let you know, here I saw Aoi Asphere, Cantoy, and Iris Mondo, and they were all great shows. So look forward to those videos when I post them when I get time. I don't know. And finally, ATLMSL on Twitter asked, "Did you see any bands?" So, yep, there you go. Those are the bands that I saw. So I believe that answers all the questions about my trip to Japan. So if you have any further questions, definitely feel free to ask. I'd love to make another video. This is actually really fun. And if you're just curious on things about Japan in general, feel free to ask. I can do my best to answer them privately or in a video if you like. If you like these kind of talking videos and stuff like that too, then let me know. And maybe every once in a while I'll do some. Maybe I can do a video on planning a trip to Japan. Well, I don't know. I'm not very good at planning. I just kind of figured things out. But if there's anything about that you want to know, feel free to ask, or again, just stuff in general. Oh, there was another question here too that I missed. Are you attending the Bandmade final concert in Yokohama Arena? No, I left Japan before then. So yeah, like I said, if there's any other things that you're curious about, let me know, and I'd love to do a video on them. It'd be very, very fun to do. So I'm going to go ahead and wrap it up right here, though. Thank you, everybody, for participating, asking some cool questions. That was awesome. If I missed any questions, too, let me know, and I'll do a follow-up video. No problem at all. And yeah, I'm going to wrap it up right here. So hope you all be safe. Take care, rock on, and I'll talk to you real soon. Ciao, mate.